Could Mount Tantiss appear in Dave Filoni's Climax Mandoverse movie? This video contains content from the Heir to the Empire trilogy by Zahn and the Bad Batch TV series. Mount Tantiss was located on the planet Wayland, hidden from the galaxy and only accessible by the Emperor and his top underlings.
This went for Canon and Legends, both projects by the Emperor that had to do with his immortality.
In the Legends continuity, Mount Tantiss was the Emperor's personal storehouse with limited security and had one Dark Jedi known as the Guardian of the Mountain. The Dark Jedi was eventually killed by Jaruus C'baoth, who was a clone of Jarus C'baoth, and he conquered the planet, even making a city on the planet his kingdom. By 9 ABY, Thrawn's campaign brought him to Wayland to recover old tools the Emperor had in his mountain. On the way, he encountered Jaruus C'baoth, and after some harsh first encounters, they decided to join forces so Jaruus could capture and train Leia Organa Solo's unborn twins. In The Last Command by Zahn, Luke Skywalker, Mara Jade, and others went to Tantiss to take down Thrawn's cloning facility he had going on in Mount Tantiss, and they also had to stop Jaruus C'baoth in the process. Jaruus C'baoth was killed by Mara Jade, and the facility was decommissioned and destroyed. Wayland was also home to native species called the Poseidon and the Minhirish, who allied themselves with the New Republic to stop Jaruus and Thrawn. In Star Wars canon, Wayland was also a jungle planet that was home to Mount Tantiss, except multiple mountain facilities were seen in the distance. It is unknown if there are any native species or cities in canon, as there are in Legends. There are still many dangerous animals that roam the jungles, though, making it almost impossible to make it out of the jungle alive. We have yet to see what Tantiss became of during the New Republic era in canon, but in the Bad Batch series, we are shown its earlier time during the early Imperial reign. Mount Tantiss was part of the Empire's elite science team called the Advanced Science Division, and the head of this division was the crooked scientist Hemlock. Hemlock was in charge of Project Necromancer, which involved cloning, similar to the cloning facility in Legends where they cloned stormtroopers for Thrawn's campaign. Mount Tantiss had many clone troopers held prisoner, and Hemlock made a repeating effort to capture Omega of Clone Force 99. Omega was an altered clone created on Kamino, and was Force sensitive. We never really ended up knowing what Project Necromancer had to do with Omega and all the clones. Project Necromancer was most likely a project to learn the cloning process from Nala Se in order to make the clone bodies for the Emperor and even possibly Snoke. So Tantiss had pretty different parts to play in Legends and canon, with Legends being a personal storehouse to the Emperor, and in canon being a full-on science facility for the Emperor and his schemes. There was no Dark Jedi who protected Tantiss in canon. Instead, there was many clone commandos who were loyal to the Empire, and many new TK stormtroopers. Hemlock's science division got their hands on a Zillobeast at one point, which its use became unknown. Mount Tantiss had a new species of hound dogs introduced in the Bad Batch, this being a Lurkahound. A Lurkahound from Mount Tantiss escaped with Crosshair and Omega at one point, and became Clone Force 99's new member. Many children were also taken to Mount Tantiss, including Omega for a second time, and they were all tested for their Force sensitivity. Omega's second capture led Clone Force 99 to begin an assault on the mountain, but first, they had to go through a long process to find the planet, having to go planet hopping, which these planets acted as checkpoints to get to the planet Wayland. Omega and the children broke loose and sabotaged the facility, letting the Zillobeast loose to cause havoc through the whole facility. Clone Force 99 was confronted by the modified clone Shadows and were pretty beaten until Echo and all the set-free clone prisoners came to help. Hemlock was killed by clones Hunter and Crosshair, and the hunt for Omega ended, and Mount Tantiss was left in rubble. Better yet, The last surviving Kaminoan, Nala Se, made an effort to destroy all her and Hemlock's research, killing herself and Vice Admiral Rampart in the process. Tarkin arrived on Mount Tantiss after its destruction and declared that Project Necromancer would be shelved and all funding would go towards Project Stardust, being the Death Star project.
Hemlock's failings have cost us enough. Shutter this facility indefinitely and redistribute all funding to Project Stardust.
Now, we don't know if Tantiss was turned into the Emperor's warehouse after its destruction or not. Maybe it was totally forgotten about. There was also another mountain in the distance, which could possibly be the Emperor's warehouse or maybe just another science facility. But all we know is that it was left totally intact after the assault. So the big question, could Tantiss be in the new Thrawn movie? It definitely could. We have lots of time in between the Bad Batch and 9 ABY for it to be turned into a whole other facility. There is also so much more to explore in canon, like the native tribes and the faraway cities. So do you think Thrawn will be taking a stop here with Pelion? Or do you think the Dathomirian Night Mothers are all he needs to be powerful on the big screen? If you liked this video, give a like or a comment so I know I have people who enjoy videos and I can keep making Star Wars lore. I have lots of stories to tell in the galaxy far, far away. May the Force be with you, always.